Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we are doing the weekly wrap up for the week ending the 12th of July. So I love doing these weekly wrap ups. This feels like a really great opportunity for me to talk directly to you, the subscribers, about how my life is, how my week's been going. What we cover in these videos, if this is your first time on the channel or first time watching a Friday recap, is the books that I have read, the books that I'm currently reading, the books that I'm reading next, and then we'll also talk a little bit about the channel as well. So what went up on the channel this week in case you missed it, what's going up on the channel next week so that you can, you know, save some time in your schedule to watch one of my videos. So we had a really good week on the channel this week that I really enjoyed. So let's get straight into it. First off, I finished reading Infinity Gate by M.R. Carey. This is a multiverse sci-fi book, which is centered kind of around the city of Lagos in Nigeria. Lagos, somebody will correct me. And this one, so obviously it's not always called Lagos or Lagos in multiple different universes, whatever. It's long story short, this is about a multiversal empire and an Earth which is a lot like ours and their first contact with that empire. And I really loved it. I can't remember whether I gave it 4 or 5 stars. I have to be honest. In my mind, I feel like I 5-starred it. The review's going to go up on Monday. I recorded it as soon as I finished it, but I don't want to post like a billion reviews a week. So, because I actually have finished 3 books in the last like 10 days. So this review will be going up on Monday. So stay tuned for that one. I've recommended this to a ton of people, and I really hope some more people will read it. My big recommendation as well is the audiobook is fantastic. The narrator is called Dami Olukoya, I think. I've said this twice in a row now, 2 Fridays in a row, that I can't remember the exact name of the narrator, and I feel quite bad for that. But you guys know how terrible I am at just sitting down to record without really any preamble or anything like that. So I kind of forgot that I was going to talk about this book. After that, I have started reading Lord of Chaos, the next book in the Wheel of Time. So my original intent after reading Infinity Gate was that I was going to go and read Soul Stealer, which is the second book in my set of SPFBO books that I was interested in reading. But I just realised that I wanted a bit of a break from SPFBO books. Because I had kind of on and off been reading, because I was reading the first 50 pages of each book, I've been on and off reading these SPFBO books for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I was like, I want a clean break, so I'm going to read a couple of books and then get back to SPFBO in either late July or early August. But I'm also behind on Wheel of Time, so I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to get back to it. So I've read a little further than where this is via audio. So I think I'm on chapter 20. I'm on chapter 21. So I am almost exactly at the halfway point. So I'm 458 pages out of just under 1,000. So yeah, I'm basically at the halfway point in this one. I'm really liking this book. There's been a lot of my favourite kind of stuff from the Wheel of Time, which is like the politics stuff. We've had some POV chapters from Rand, which are obviously not Rand, but mostly it has been Rand. But we've had some POV chapters from Matt, and Matt's POV chapters have been some of my favourites in the series so far. Everything is really, I think Jordan's really nailing it. This book is great. People often talk about how books 4 through 6 are kind of like the peak of the Wheel of Time. Some people will say 3 through 5. Most people acknowledge that they think the slog starts with book 7. I don't actually own book 7 yet. I should probably just go out and pick up a copy. I have been buying them as I come to read them, or whenever I find one in the edition I like. This one actually isn't in the edition I like, but I had a Waterstones voucher, so I just went and picked this one up, because this is the one with the fake sticker. The fake sticker one is the second worst version of these photo covers. We've talked about it before. Maybe I'll do a short about the 3 versions of the photo covers. That might be interesting. But, so, loving this book. I really like the backdrop of like the global heat wave that's going on. I like everything that's happening in Saladar. I really like the kind of growing capability of Rand. And yeah, there's so much good stuff in this book so far. I am still really wanting to get back to one particular storyline that was quite heavy in Shadow Rising. We've only really had one chapter from that part of the world. I don't want to go into too deep on the details because people may not have read the book, whereas most of the stuff I've said wouldn't really spoil anything. So overall, loving this book, really enjoying it. I've talked for a long time about this, and you will get a review of this. So I imagine I will finish this in the next, probably before next week's weekly update. And but I've also, since finishing Surviving Westcliff, which was this week's review, I've finished Infinity Gate, and I've finished The Wandering in Volume 1. So The Wandering in Volume 1 will be the Monday review, not next week, the week after. So you are going to have to wait 2 and a bit weeks to see my review of Lord of Chaos. My plan is to try and catch up with Wheel of Time by starting the next one, which I actually can't remember the name of. It'll say in the front of this book. So the next one is A Crown of Swords. So my intention is to start A Crown of Swords at the end of July. So I'll still be reading book 7 in July, but I will give myself like maybe a couple of books space before I do so. Last week I said that my next book after Wheel of Time, my next sci-fi book read was going to be Leviathan Wakes, but then I remembered that I wanted to read the Andy Weir books that I got from the Broken Binding, because I am probably going to sell these on. Let me show you. So this is Artemis. This is the one that I have absolutely no knowledge of. So I've read The Martian. Not read The Martian, sorry. I've seen the movie of The Martian, and I've read Project Hail Mary. So Artemis is probably the one that I'm going to read first. But I do want to read The Martian as well. So I will read The Martian as well. And my plan is to read both of those fairly soon. Reason being, as I said, I'm probably going to sell this series because with the Broken Binding stuff, I kind of only want to keep my favourites, and I wasn't able to skip the Andy Weir series because it was my first series after signing up. So yeah, Andy Weir books seem great, but Project Hail Mary was for me an audiobook read. I'm not really interested in reading it physically, and Artemis and The Martian I will read, but I don't imagine I'll want to read over and over again. And that's when I think about Broken Binding stuff, I probably only want to keep the Broken Binding books that I truly love, because as you guys know, my storage space for books is minimal. So a lot of these are going to come in and then go out after I've read them, or be given as gifts, things like that, you know. Next up, so yeah, that'll be what I'm going to read straight after Lord of Chaos. I'm looking forward to starting it. I've actually been reading Lord of Chaos a lot using the audiobook, and I feel like I've finally gotten used to Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, and I don't prefer them to Rosamund Pike at all. Like, she's still my favourite when it comes to narration, but I am now not like only listening to the audiobook when I have to. I am sometimes choosing to listen to the audiobook and play a puzzle game on my phone or something like that. mostly when my brain is a bit tired to sight read. So next up, so after Artemis, which, because it's, even though this book is quite big, it's actually quite thin, and Project Hail Mary was a very quick read. I believe, I mean, this is only 300 pages, and the text is actually quite big. So, I mean, compared to, for example, this is a lot smaller. We've got a lot less lines per page. So I think that I could probably read Artemis quite quickly after I've read Lord of Chaos. Obviously, I did have a bit of a reading slump in June and July once the baby was born, and I was struggling a bit with focus. And I do need to still read some more One Piece. I actually haven't touched it since the last weekly update. But I am definitely going to read it, and I'm going to do my review. Like I said, comics and manga reviews are going to happen on the weekends whenever I've got something to discuss. It won't be every weekend. It will literally just be when I have something. So my next book read is going to be one of these two. So it's going to be The Silver Blood Promise, which is currently the Book of the Month read-along for Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews and Andrew Watson. So I'm kind of thinking that that's the front runner, but I do want to read the first binding before the sequel comes out, or at least a lot of people that I know say this book wasn't really for them. And while my friend Mare at Lady Mare Reads is a big first binding fan, and she really loved it, and she has an early reader copy for the next book, I think. So yeah, I do want to try the first binding. I actually have made friends with R.R. Verdi on Twitter. So I do hope that I like his book, because he seems really nice. And we've been chatting about him coming on the channel maybe once I've read it. So yeah, I would really, in fact, this book is dedicated to Jim Butcher. And as you guys know, the Dresden Files is one of my top series of all time. So if R.R. Verdi likes the Dresden Files and Mare likes the first binding, I do have a feeling that I will love it. But I have, as I said, I have seen some reviews that are not very complimentary. So I don't particularly care if this isn't the most original book of all time, because people say like, oh, it's just a rip-off of Name of the Wind, but like the Name of the Wind sequel was terrible. So if R.R. Verdi can not rip off, but can use some story concepts from Name of the Wind and then actually write a good series, I'm much more interested in that personally than the third book in the Kingkiller Chronicle that will never ever be written or released. So that's a long way of saying I want to read both of those books. So what will probably happen is I will read Lord of Chaos, then I'll read Artemis, then I'll read either Silver Blood or the first binding. First binding is a massive chonker, even though the font is a little bigger than a lot of fantasy stuff. We're still looking at 600 pages, so it looks like more than 700 actually. Anyway, we're still looking at a very long book. So while the text is a bit bigger in this big hardback that I have, long way of saying, I don't know how long the next book I'm going to read is going to take. It's unlikely I will finish Lord of Chaos, Artemis, and the fantasy book I go to afterwards. After that fantasy book, which will either be First Binding or Silver Blood Promise, most likely, I will go to a sci-fi, and then I'll either decide whether I want to start the next Wheel of Time or whether I want to go and read the other one of First Binding, Silver Blood Promise. Because the First Binding sequel, which is called Doors of Midnight, I think, is out in August. So maybe I should be prioritising the First Binding. I would like to join in with everyone who's reading Silver Blood. As you guys know, we're doing Mood Read Summer, where I'm just deciding on a whim what I want to read next. So really, what I read next is going to be based on those whims. I know I said I was going to start The Expanse, which also everyone is currently reading, but I just want to read these Andy Weir books so that when the third one arrives, I can put them up for sale, to be honest. So I'm going to read the Andy Weir ones first. I don't like selling a book that I haven't read, so I do want to read them. Yeah, and I did mention, I don't know if I did mention this. I did get onto the fantasy subscription for Broken Binding as well. So I had this thought where I was like, could you do a video where you only read Broken Binding books for a month? I think that would be fun, but I do actually like reading across ebook and audiobook as well, so it would be fun to do a video. It would be less fun for me to actually do the reading because I like to swap around. And like, for example, if I've got this copy of Artemis, right, I can't read this while I'm cooking dinner. I can't read this while I am playing with my son, or like when I'm sat in my son's bedroom in the dark waiting for him to fall asleep, so that I can tuck him in, you know. That is where the Kindle comes in handy, where the audiobook comes in handy, you know. So that's my reading plans. That's probably the longest it's ever taken me to get through the reading plans section of this video. In terms of the channel, so we are almost at 700. We're at 739 subscribers, which is pretty fucking cool. Pardon my French. I'd love to get to 750 in time for next week's weekly wrap up, and I've now hit the watch hours requirement for YouTube. So you guys have watched more than 4,000 hours of my content in the last 12 months, which is insane. But I'm really happy to say that, yeah, so once I hit those 1,000 subscribers, the channel can switch over straight away and become monetized. So I'll be able to take some money back in from the channel and use that to buy more physical books, to show off the physical books to you guys and to talk about the physical copies. I'm still going to keep to my minimalist trend of buying books and then donating them or reselling them depending on the book in question. So I actually decided to resell a copy of The Will of the Many that I bought because I was like, really enjoyed this book, but I think that if I do want to reread it, I really enjoyed the audio book, so I'd probably go audio. And I just only have so much room for big hardbacks, which is sad. But yeah, because I've only got so much room, anything that isn't my like super favorite 5-star has to get moved on out, because I think I have room for maybe 10, 15 hardbacks in total. I am creating some more room in the house, but that's just the way it goes, really. I might rebuy The Will of the Many in paperback if there's like a matching paperback set for the whole quadrilogy when it comes out. That would be fun. But anyway, we're getting very off topic here. So yeah, the channel's got 739 subscribers. Might have 740 by the time you watch this, because I'm recording it in the morning and uploading in the afternoon. And I gain between 1 and 2 a day. So it'd be nice if it was 740. But I think a lot of that has come from my SPFBO videos, because Mark Lawrence retweeted my video, which is very cool of him. Also, Philip again retweeted. Again, very cool of Philip. I also, because I finished The Wandering Inn this week, I put up the final chapter read along. I also had my Q2 in review video, and I had the review of Surviving Westcliff and my interview with the author of Surviving Westcliff, Thomas Perkins, which was a really genuinely great interview. I think one of the best that I've done in terms of, he seemed just very like ready and up for it, and he was very, very like outgoing, and yeah, so one of the best interviews I've done in a little while. He was just a lot of fun to talk to, honestly. I think we got on very well. And I've had actually a load of people reach out to me to tell me how much they enjoyed that video. So yeah, thanks very much, Thomas, for coming on the channel. If you are watching this, I don't expect you to, but if you are, thanks for watching. And yeah, thanks for coming on the channel. And as you said, you're working on your next books right now. I look forward to having you back for those next books as we have another interview. Next week on the channel, we have the Infinity Gate review will be on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, I currently have absolutely no idea what's going to go up. I will be thinking of some videos to record over the weekend and making some plans and then putting those videos up on Tuesday and Wednesday as normal. It may end up that we have 2 Wandering In videos next week because we have an interlude chapter and then chapter 1 of book 2. So it might be nice to record both of those and put both of those up in the same week. And that'll be a bit of a thank you for everyone who's been following along with the Wandering In and for waiting for the full review. I was also considering trying to do like a full spoiler discussion for Wandering In Volume 1. I'm trying to find somebody who has also read it, but most of the people who've read it that were called out in the comments unfortunately read it quite a while ago, and I don't know if I want to ask someone to read it again and doing a full spoiler discussion when someone's read something like over a year ago can be a bit hard because they can be like, oh, actually I was about to tell you something that happens in book 2. Oh, this is blah blah blah. Oh, I forgot that happened. So I think it is not to be, unfortunately. Maybe I should do a why you should read The Wandering In. But I feel like I'm doing that every week when I hype up how good the book is. We're at 33 books for the year now, which is pretty cool. Very happy with that. I don't know if I also mentioned this, but in the book draft that we had, me and Ross and Laura won, and it wasn't even close. I came last, and I feel like because it's my channel, you guys should have voted for me. I don't know, but this is a very weird way to end this. I think having a basically pint of black coffee might not have been the most conducive to making an entertaining video, but c'est la vie. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to run through actually. So yeah, looking forward to starting Artemis. I am loving Lord of Chaos. I know we've talked about this already, but really loving it. I wonder if taking a month's break from the Wheel of Time actually made me kind of miss that world and those characters a little bit more, because I'm just having such a great time with it. I have been, usually when I do jobs and chores around the house, I'll often listen to a podcast or booktube videos, and I listen to audiobooks mostly while driving, because I want to have like a big clear space of time. But I've actually been dipping in and out of the Wheel of Time audiobook when I have those moments now, just because I'm having so much fun with it. And that's enabled me to read very quickly. So I read I started this on I want to say Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, maybe Monday or Tuesday. And in a day, I'd read 200 pages. And normally it takes me about, I can normally read about 100 pages of the Wheel of Time a day if I'm really focusing on it. And in 4 days, I've read almost 500. And yesterday, fun fact, I barely read at all because I was really busy in the evening. And one evening this week, I did an interview with Thomas. So that shows you how quickly I'm reading it. Anyway, that's everything. I've probably said anyway 17 times in this video. I've had a lot of fun recording this and just feeling like we're having a kind of a casual chat, you and me, as the viewer to the YouTuber. And if you have a preference on whether I should read, let me pick them up. If you have a preference on whether I should read The First Binding or The Silverblood Promise next, let me know. So vote down in the comments. I will, you know what? I'll abide by the vote. So vote down below, say Silverblood or First Binding, and whichever wins, I will read after I finish Artemis and Lord of Chaos. So that's it. There you go. I don't need to make a decision. You can do it for me. If you've got to the end of this video, make sure that you put down in the comments which one you want me to read. Also, give this video a like while you're there, going down towards that comment box. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's make it to 750 as soon as possible. And then let's go on that final stretch to 1,000 with only 250. So at the moment, 261 subscribers to get me to 1,000, which is really cool. If you asked me when I started the channel if within a year I would be this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, I'd have laughed you out of the room. My prediction, right, was year one, if I can get to between 1 and 300 subscribers, I think was kind of my original goal. And then when the channel blew up over the Christmas period, so like November, December, January, February, maybe just up to January actually, November, December, January, the channel was really blowing up and I was gaining like 50, 60 subscribers in a week, which was mad. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll hit 1,000 in like April or May, because that I'm on target for that. And then the channel's growth slowed right down. So this is a roundabout way of saying that if you have subscribed, I'm genuinely so incredibly thankful and surprised in many ways. This video's gone on too long. Let's end it up. I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'm going to have a great one reading Lord of Chaos, and I will speak to you guys next week. Goodbye.